Hi there, and welcome to the Anita CHAT podcast. I'm your host, Anita Rombo, and this is the podcast for growth-oriented women to have authentic, real talk. Nothing is off the table here, but as an intuitive self-relationship coach, you'll find the content gravitates towards mindset, intentional action, spirituality, and all things wellness. So if you're ready to learn, laugh, show up, and glow up to be the best version of yourself, grab your favorite bevy, settle in, and we've got lots to chat about.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Anita Chat. I hope you are doing well. Today's a bit of a bittersweet day for me, friends. It is the end of June 2023, and a few episodes ago, I shared with you that I am introducing a season into the Anita Chat podcast, and so this is the last episode for this season. I will be taking a break from showing up every week and podcasting with you. And I will be back after Labor Day. So the first week in September, when the kids are back in school, we're all back in the swing of our routines. I will be back on this mic chatting it up with you. And I'm feeling a bit bittersweet because I will miss you guys terribly. I really have so much fun with this podcast and connecting with you in this way. But I also want to enjoy the summer with my children and take a little bit of a step back from the podcast so that I can take it to the next level. I have a lot of really cool ideas and things that I want to execute on. But so when you come in September, spoiler alert, there will be changes to this podcast, but I think that you will really, really appreciate them. In the meantime, I did want to again express my sincere gratitude to all of you for all your love and support. And I certainly want to stay in touch. So feel free to get into my DMs or feel free to email me at info@anitarambo.com. I will absolutely still be coaching. So if you're interested in pursuing a one-on-one coaching relationship with myself, do not hesitate to book a discovery call. Let's chat it out and see if we'd be a great. And on that note, if you are also wanting to just stay a little bit more plugged into my life, this is a great time to join that email list because you do get the behind the scenes and exclusive perks. Friends, I hope you take this opportunity to catch up on old episodes. So with that being said, I was wondering, what can we talk about for our last episode? And I thought I would reflect back to a couple of things. One, just how far we've come together. This podcast started in January 2022, and literally the last week of December of 2021 thought, I'm starting a podcast. I'm starting in January. I'm going to make this happen. And I put it together. And honestly, my mission was just simple and is something that I'm still hold myself accountable to. And that is to help inspire people to show up and glow up, to be the best versions of themselves. And that's exactly what I try to do for myself. That's exactly what I try to do for my coaching clients. And I've tried to give you through this chat a wide lens into mindset shifts, lifestyle shifts, wellness shifts, spirituality. Like we've talked about so many different types of topics on this chat, all with that same goal and intention in mind. And in that process, a year and a half later, 72 episodes in, we are going so strong. I had no real kind of benchmarks for success. I probably should have thought through more of that KPI, but like I said, I just kind of put it together with that one intention in mind. And I have to say, we have expanded to listenership in 45 countries around the world. There's people tuning in from every single continent except for Antarctica. So if you know anybody in Antarctica, please tell them about the chat. I just want to hit the world. But I'm really humbled and honored to have the reach that I have and to feel so good about the impact that I'm making. And it really does make showing up here every week so worthwhile for me. So thank you so very much. And if you are listening in and you haven't yet done so and you are enjoying the chat, I would absolutely love it if you could rate and review this podcast on Apple or Spotify. Absolutely love that. That would go a long way to helping me reach that impact, to creating that impact too. Or, simply put, if you enjoyed an episode in particular or you enjoy the chat, mention it to a friend. Send them a link of your favorite podcast episode. Really, if all of us did that, we could make really some big, remarkable changes happen together. So once again, thank you so very much. I'm going to miss you guys for this season, but there's lots of ways that we can stay connected. So I hope you do. I hope we do stay connected, and I'll see you in the fall. But with that being said, I thought I would share with you the top 5 episodes that I can think of that are guest collabs for this year. So from January 2023 onwards. So we're at the end of June now. I'm focusing on guest collabs because I am a lifelong learner. If I am doing a solo episode, I consider myself kind of an expert or well-versed in the area of what I'm talking about. And so I've really enjoyed the guest collabs because it's an opportunity for me to connect with other people, to learn about them and their story, but also to tap into their expertise. And the lifelong learner in me just loves absorbing new information. So these are the top 5 guest collabs that I had. They're not going to be in any particular order, but these episodes in particular resonated with me on some level, and I'll share what that level is. I will also share some of the kind of big nuggets of information, and I will obviously link to them in the episode description so that if you want to add it to your summer playlist or check out these episodes for the first time or revisit these episodes again, that would be really easy for you to do so. So without further ado, these are my top 5 favorite episodes, guest collaborations. The first one I'm going to start with is episode number 54, and this aired February 1st, 2023. It was entitled Dress for Success, Expert Styling Tips for Confident and Elevated Look. And I really, really enjoyed this episode. It was actually a 2-parter. So there was a first episode launched in January 18th, and it was episode number 52, How to Manifest Success Through Style, also very popular. But I know a lot about manifestation, so it was fun. But really, episode number 54, I enjoyed so much more because I had a transformational style expert, Courtney St. Clair, on the show. And I'll be the first to admit, I feel like I'm caught in a style time warp. I'm not the most fashionable. I can appreciate good fashion on a person, but I'm very simple and minimalistic. I'm a mom. I need things to be practical. I want things that are versatile and easy to put together, and something that can go from day to night, relatively easy. And so don't even know where to shop anymore. So having Courtney walk us through what we should be thinking about, letting us know about some of the staples that we should have in our wardrobe, where we could possibly buy them, how to dress for our body shape. Those were really wonderful pointers and tips that I have still taken with me to this day. So I do think I have upped my style game a little bit. There is still a ton of room for improvement, but I really, really enjoyed this episode. And I think that it was something that maybe some other fellow moms that are just really busy and maybe also find themselves in a style warp might appreciate. So with that being said, my second favorite group collaboration of 2023 was episode number 56, which aired February 15th, and it was entitled From Hopeless to Happiness, How to Find Yourself Through Art. And I found this to be a very magical episode. This episode, I interviewed happiness coach Kelly Hopkins. And once again, this episode really resonated with me because we talked about a lot of things that I think a lot of women in particular in the Western world could relate to, and that is burnout through their corporate work. And Kelly in particular decided to discover herself and to prioritize herself by taking some pretty drastic measures. And that for her was to pick up and leave the US and move to the rainforests of Costa Rica. And not only did she move herself, but she decided to adopt children. And they came with her, obviously, so to raise a family in Costa Rica, to really plant new roots, consciously curate a new version or chapter of her life, and in the process, discover herself and replenish her cup as well. And for her, as a happiness coach, what she found really was a key medium to finding herself again and to finding happiness again was art and creativity. And so, again, I thought the story was really interesting. It was something that we could all relate to, but also it pointed to the importance of incorporating creativity into your life and art into your life. For me, I am creative, but not through art. I love words. I'm a writer. I'll be publishing my first book in October. So that's also some stuff that I'll be working on over the summertime. But it was really, really awesome to see that you don't necessarily have to be great at art to use it as a medium to find yourself or to discover yourself or to cultivate happiness and creativity, and how tapping into one creative medium helps you tap into others. It also taught me how to incorporate more art in my home in a very simplistic and manageable way, especially as a way to maybe bond with my daughter, who is very artistic. So, anyways, it was a really great episode on many levels. And again, full of a lot of practical strategies that we can do to incorporate and infuse our lives with a little bit more creativity and joy. So I hope you enjoy that one. All right. So the next one on my list is episode number 62. This one was released in March 29th, 2023. And once again, I'm going to link to all of these in the show notes. So if you haven't tuned into any of them, these are my favorites. Definitely tune into them or retune into them or share them with your friends. But this episode number 62 was entitled How to Own and Articulate Your Value in the Workplace. And in this episode, I got to interview executive coach who specializes in finance and STEM, Dr. Alessandra Wall. She's also a clinical psychologist. I really resonated with this episode because I just felt like Alessandra and I could be best friends. We had a lot of similarities in common. We both have a love of psychology. We come from training in psychology, and we love to empower women, which is something as a success coach that is really important to me. Also, when we're talking about owning and articulating our value in the workplace, having been being somebody from the corporate world, this episode really spoke to a lot of the challenges and struggles that we as women face sometimes in the corporate world, right? How do we compare and show up and be noteworthy and somebody that people remember? And how do we get paid what we're worth? And how do we hold the boundaries that are so important to us? All of that kind of stuff. So this, again, is something that I think any woman who is in the workplace could benefit from and could probably see themselves in through the anecdotes as well as, how to address them. So that was a really, really awesomely powerful episode. And so with that being said, that takes me to an episode that just was released last month, May 24th, entitled Unmasking the Silent Threat, Exposing Household Toxins Lurking in Your Home. So this was episode number 68. Oh my God. I was thinking about this. This episode came up at my dinner table. This episode has been talked about at the soccer field through, my friends that tuned into it. In this episode, I interviewed Therese Fortin Barnes, a household toxins expert. And while I myself consider myself to have a pretty clean home, I think that we're pretty green in terms of the things that we put in our body and use in our home. But even this conversation opened my eyes to some toxins that I was just not even aware of, would not even think of. So no matter where you are in your awareness of the products that you're using or the things that you're surrounding yourself with, I'm sure that you'll walk away with a couple of nuggets through this episode that might help you or might encourage you to rethink how you do your house. Alrighty. And so last but not least, episode number 67 was also gold. It was how ADHD presents in women and strategies for success. In this guest collab, I interviewed a clinical psychiatrist, Dr. Dara Abraham, who works specifically with adults with ADHD, and she herself also has ADHD. Now, this was such a fascinating conversation. I will be the first to admit that up until about a year ago, I thought ADHD was just something that afflicts young boys in particular that are usually hyperactive, have a really hard time focusing, et cetera, et cetera. But over the last year, I really came to know or hear a lot more about adult ADHD, specifically in women and multi-passionate women. I even have had the pleasure of serving some of my favorite clients, and they have adult ADHD. And I'll be honest, so many people have said to me that I think you might have ADHD. So that really piqued my curiosity. Again, the lifelong learner that I am, I've definitely Dr. Googled the crap out of this, wanted to really understand this a lot more. So Dr. Dara Abraham was wonderful because not only does she treat this, she also lives this. And although I have not been formally diagnosed, after coming out of that episode, I am a self-proclaimed I have ADHD. It was also really interesting because not only did she just share what it looks like to be a woman with ADHD, but how to manage it so that it's your superpower and so you can still be successful and high functioning with it versus it being a particular weakness. So that was also definitely a great episode to tune into. So, my friends, with that being said, those are my top 5 episodes. Again, I'll link to them in the show notes. If you haven't already checked them out, definitely do so over the summer break. If any of these episodes were your favorite too, I would love to hear from you. In fact, I would love to hear from you no matter what, because I know I'm going to miss you terribly. So once again, feel free to email me info@anitarambo.com or on Instagram, slide into my DMs at Anita Rambo. Think about joining that email list of mine. And I can't wait to see how we evolve together for the next season of Anita Chat. And with that, my dear sweet friends, I think that's a wrap on this season of Anita Chat. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I can't wait to chat with you again in September. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Anita Chat podcast. If you haven't taken a minute to leave a review, I would absolutely love to hear from you. All you need to do is to search for the show, click your star rating, and type in a few words. Also, if there's a specific topic you'd like to see covered in this podcast, if you'd like me to be your coach, or if you want to just chat, feel free to send me an email or shoot me a message through my IG, which you'll find in the show notes. The show notes will also contain any links to the freebies that were referenced in this episode. Until next time, friends, it's been great chatting with you.